All right, here we are with exercise 46. I'm just going to get right into translations and try and keep this video nice and short. That's always the goal. All right, so we're just going to look at our sentence. In Gallia sunt coles et sylvae et opida et viae. So I'm going to start here, just right at the beginning, et in Gallia. All right, and so I'm going to label, we know that in is governing a case, and this governs the oblative, and the word that follows then is oblative as well. I see the verb here, sunt. I see the verb here, and I like to look at that little nt to remind me that that's plural. And I also need to finish on Gallia that I need my gender numbering case, and so I know that this is feminine, and I also know that it is singular for Gallia right here. Okay, it's under the singular. Okay, so then we're going to move over to coles. All right, and coles, just bracket this one. All right, colis is what I think, right? So that reminds me hill, and that has a gender that's assigned, and so it's masculine. And then this is also plural because it has an ace ending, which matches right here. And I have two options, okay? And I like to put both down when I'm translating because as things get longer, I like to know that I have options when one particular thing doesn't work. So if I only labeled nominative, I'll forget that I still have the accusative. And then your translation, you just might sit there real frustrated trying to figure it out. So always put both options or three options in case you have an I ending here where we've got, you know, I, and I, okay? All right. We know that et is and. Often I'll just kind of fill that in. So why? Okay, and so why we know is feminine. We see the ending, the I ending, knowing it's a first declension. And this is also, let's see, well, here's how I like to do this as well, because I just told you this has three options, right? So we have two options that are in the singular here. So I'm going to put them both here. And so I will put genitive and dative singular. Sorry, it's a little sloppy. And then I will also put nominative plural. Okay. Opida. Okay, that's opidum, opidi. So I know this is when it's an e ending. I know it's going to belong here in my second declension, and it's neuter. Okay, so that's my gender. I also know that it is plural because the neuter endings are always in the plural if there's an A. And then it has two options there. I can go nominative or accusative here. And so we'll start to see a pattern emerge here. When you have three options, you start to go, oh, look, the one repeating thing here is nominative, right? And so we'll come over here and fill in and then we have viae. All right, and viae is feminine. We have this I ending, which has three options, but we're going to go ahead and label it in the nominative plural because, again, we're making a list here. We can tell by the ands, these conjunctions, and so that's kind of a little flag, little red flag, that these are just going to wind up getting translated here in the nominative plurals. Okay, and so then I know that these are going to go away here. And so then I just go ahead and translate, okay? And so I say in Gaul, I like to put the comma. So I've got sunt, and it's plural, so it's there are. Now, there's also the option of they are with sunt. They just added this there are, so you can always try it both ways and see which sounds the best. Okay, so we're gonna go with there are, and then we have a nominative plural. So there are hills, and we have forests, nominative plural. So I'm gonna put an S on this. Forest, then I come to and. Opida, okay, nominative plural, same thing. Towns and towns. Actually, let's take that off. We just got kind of the ands going. We're not really eliminating those at this point. And then we have the final plural nominative again here, and roads. Okay. Now, a few things. These ands become really redundant. And so you'll notice in the answer key, I believe that they took this one out and just placed a comma, you know, that you could just do forests, towns, and roads. So when you have multiple ands, et and et, you'll see eventually that they'll teach you when there's two of these in a sentence what it means. We're not there yet. So if there's a third, feel free to drop it out when you're translating. And then there's also, you know, you have this little intro here in Gaul. You could also start with sunt if you were translating, say, there are hills and forests, towns and roads in Gaul. So again, it's just about when you translate, just putting them in the not necessarily proper location, because CC is not hammering us on that there has to be a particular order. We pretty much know nominatives are typically at the beginning, and we know that verbs come at the end unless they're verbs of sum. And so that's really kind of the structure we stick to. Outside of that, there's a little freedom, you know, so if your child has put this at the end, it's not a big deal. They still got it correct. Okay, let's move on over to number 8. All right, so we're just going to start here. Here's the sentence. Propter salutem populi et pacem provinciarum Romani vias muniverunt. Okay, so we're up here. And I go propter salutem, and I group them together because I know that propter governs the accusative case, which makes the word that follows accusative. And then I also want to put down the gender, which is feminine here, of salus, salutis. And then I know that salutem, I can come right up here and see it's singular. Okay. All right. Coming over to populi then. Go ahead and group this. Populus, populi. Okay, so I have two options for E, a genitive singular or a nominative plural. Okay, genitive singular and a nominative plural. And I'm going to place those both there just in case. Like I said before, you want to place your options so that you remember as you translate. If you look at something and go, that just doesn't sound right, at least you know, oh wait, I still have another option. Okay, I'm going to put my and then I'm going to come over here to pacem. All right, and I know that's pax, pacis, and I'm going to come up here and see pacem right there. It's singular. Okay, singular, and it is also accusative. All right, and peace is feminine. Okay, provinciarum is a first declension word. Provincia, provincii. Okay, and so I know that arum is a genitive. I'm starting to get, you know, more familiar each time when you do this. You'll start to learn these a little bit quicker. And I also know it's first declension, so it's feminine. And then I'm going to come over to Romani, Romanus, Romani. Okay, and so again, it's an I ending here. So I've got two options, a genitive singular, nominative plural. Okay, so I'll put my genitive singular. I will place nominative plural. And then I know this is masculine, Romanus, Romani. Vias is a first declension word. Via, vi. Okay, it means roads. Now it has an us ending, so I'm going to come right up here and see. There it is. It's the accusative plural. Okay, accusative plural, and it's feminine because it's a first declension word. And then finally I get to my verb, which I could have started my sentence with that. Like I always say, start with the verb. It's the easiest thing you see. And then here I go, starting with the first thing in the sentence. So don't do like I did this time. Unless you just really like it that way, then that's fine. Do whatever you want. All right, so now we're going to get to the translating piece. So I know that propter is on account of, and then I have, this is safety, salvation, or welfare. So I'm just going to pick safety. On account of the safety, so on account of the safety, we'll barely fit that. On account of the safety, okay. Now I've got a nominative or genitive here. So on account of the safety, the people, or on account of the safety of the people if I went genitive, and I think that makes the best sense here in the translation. On account of the safety, so I'm going to place of the people. Okay, Okay, I've got an and because I have et, and the piece, pacem is piece, and the piece, and I have a genitive and a plural. So I know genitive is of, let's see, of the province, right? And it's plural, of the provinces. Oops, get my fingers there, sorry. Let me regrip elsewhere. We'll come over here now, okay? Piece of the provinces. What do we have now? It's kind of like the end of a little introductory phrase here, right? So then we have Romani. All right, so this is just kind of its own regular sentence down here. I can tell this is a nominative plural, and probably just because I've seen this a lot, right? With just practice, you start to recognize these patterns. I know that this is the Romans. Okay, the Romans, I am running out of space. The Romans, and now we get to this word muniverunt, and I want to bring your attention to page 42 in your purple book. I just want you to be aware down here, we have this, hopefully you can read that okay. Muniverunt says they fortified or they constructed when it's used with viam or vias. So what I typically like to do is to carry this all the way through to remind me that this has to be translated together, so that I understand that when vias is with this, it's not going to be translated as they fortified. I'll translate it as they constructed. And so I'll put the Romans constructed roads, and it's plural. Okay. Constructed roads. I need to give myself more space next time. Okay, so sorry, a little bit on the sloppy side, but there you have it. That's a little bit of exercise 46.